I didn't have any contact with Dragon's Foot, for example.
Okay.
And I don't know if you were familiar with Fight On, the magazine.
I read your article in it, and then I read the Tunnels and Trolls issue.
Right. That was actually sort of, I think, one of the first kind of come to Jesus, sort of endeavors. Calathina, the guy who was the editor, he really was omnivorous. He was like, whoever has anything to do with, who has roots in this kind of play, who wants to do anything about it, come one, come all, was sort of his approach. Well, by 2008 or 2009, however, battle lines had been drawn that I knew nothing about. I mean, people will never believe me. I had no idea their RPG site even existed.
Okay.
I don't follow. I don't search my name. I don't know a fucking thing. And so, I'm just like, who, what? Somebody says, oh yeah, the pundit. And I'm like, huh? And
okay.
But that's the thing. I don't know any of that stuff. So I had no idea that people were putting things together. Now, what I knew was that around 2006 or so, that people were putting together form factor modules, adventure modules, to match the old AD&D ones. Mm-hmm. Right, with the cardboard covers and the stiff covers and the booklets and that particular font and type of art and stuff. Yeah. And so I saw them at Gen Con. And some were for Castles and Crusades in particular, because that's kind of where this got rolling. Kind of. Okay. Some were just D20.
Was Gygax involved in Castles and Crusades?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
Or maybe he said some nice things about it. I don't know.
Okay.
But it wasn't like a publishing endeavor of his.
Okay.
Now, what happens with this form factor is people are calling it, old school, which is fine. Between you and me, the quality varied, some of them, I still have some love for a couple of the Castles and Crusades ones. I've actually written about them. But cool. Then there are others which I look and I say, man, this ain't nothing compared to the Slave Lords. This is these guys doing this, their heart's in the right place, but they just don't have the, they don't have the guts from, 1980. Old guy Kane. Not like the old days.
Well, the way I look at it when I have a bad idea is it takes a lot of spitting out the bad ideas to get to the good ones.
That's for sure. No, but so I'm not being too judgmental. I'm just saying that old school at that point, at the moment, was just a form factor presentation rather than some, like they tapped a main vein or something. Yeah. So I knew about that. I didn't know about what was underway at the time, which was a document which has been through a couple of iterations, that was called the Primer for Old School Role-Playing.
Yeah, I've read that. Matt Finch.
Right, exactly. And they kind of connected with the guys who were putting together that form factor stuff. And I think the first version of the Primer was this long, and then the second version was like this long.
Oh, okay.
Right. So there was, a lot of talking and a lot of effort and a lot of stuff going on into this. So in retrospect, I look back and I see some very interesting things. I see kind of a note of endeavor. Now, these guys were all into D20, and they were using the OGL, right? So they could say, all the words and stuff like that, and use the attributes and be D&D like. However, that ran strictly counter to what I guess was self-described as kind of Grognard Central Dragon's Foot Forum, which is where everybody, like the old D&Ders, got together and were really big on don't let anybody destroy D&D. Really hardcore, really like it is. The mother ship is wounded. The mother whale is wounded. We must save the mother whale, and they really hated third edition in D20.
Okay.
Hated them. They called them three tarts.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know, right. And so they really, really hated it. But what with this kind of old school thing with these OGL publications, sort of a weird intertwining set of interactions took place so that it was okay to like third edition after all.
Okay.
And so the new enemy was fourth edition. But it was kind of interesting. Everybody just sort of forgot that we all got together to protect D&D from third edition. And everybody just forgot that. So, it was sort of looking back in retrospect and seeing pinpoints of things that I had contact with. I could actually see that narrative. Oh, that's where I came in, sort of, interaction. So to me, the OSR has, just even saying the is kooky. I mean, if you look at some of the publications that are included that came before that, I'm really thinking of Jeff McKinney's Carcosa stuff. And even the early Lamentations in particular. These were people who just had it in their guts, and through a lifetime of play, a particular out-of-print text of D&D. They just had it in their guts, and they could write a way to play it and material for play for it that was just deeply personal.
Yeah.
Right? But they weren't seeking like an essence of D&D. There was nothing originalist or even, they weren't trying to save the hobby.
Yeah.
They were just really wanted this text not to die. And they wanted to do their version of it. Personally, I think both authors ventured into actual game design with their publications.
Oh, yeah. Right. The way I look at Lamentations is that it's like he looked at BXD&D and said, all of this stuff that designers have been trying to fix for the past several decades, what if that's the way... What are the implications of a world and for characters and stuff if that's the way it's supposed to be? Yeah. And double down on that.
Yeah, he did. And I think he actually did quite a job with it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely appreciative of Lamentations as a design and play, item. But it didn't need to be designated. I mean, it was obviously good business. Anybody with a brain, after a year or two says, oh yeah, I'm OSR.
Mm-hmm.
But really, I mean, he was on his own track with that.
Yeah, so. I see Jim as the P.T. Barnum of Satanic Panic D&D.
Yeah, I'm a little more, perhaps, I'm actually a little more sympathetic. I mean, if we take the, I'm not saying...
No, I like it.
Yeah. But I'm thinking more in terms of like empathy.
Okay.
Because I'm very sympathetic to the role that D&D played in his life as he worked his way through many difficult circumstances.
Okay.
So to me, I'm too old for the Satanic Panic.
Yeah.
I mean, I came into D&D at a point where by the time I was really branching out into all these other systems, and I even started kind of various anyway. I mean, to me, D&D, RuneQuest, Tunnels and Trolls, the Fantasy Trip, all of those are like this constellation that I encountered. Mm-hmm. And so by the time the Satanic Panic came along, I mean, I'm in the first year of college. I don't give a fuck what a bunch of people are saying. My parents have nothing to do with me about this. But people who were 5, even just a little younger than me, I mean, they're going to walk face with a lot of people, particularly regionally in the States. They're going to walk into a shitstorm, right? They're going to walk into massive, massive pushback. And they had a tough time. So
what you wrote about your first essay called "The Whites," where you talked about being Appalachian.
Yeah.
I grew up in Appalachian, Virginia, and I'm of Polish extraction, and my mom is from up north. Mm-hmm. So I was an outsider there, and then an outsider wherever else I go.
Right. Oh my God, an outsider there, and then you go out there, and everyone thinks you're the hillbilly. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's one of the reasons why I pause a lot and when I'm speaking, because I'm trying not to say my words in a in an Appalachian accent or something, not consciously.
Yeah,
but
I grew up in the coast of California, and my accent is very Californian. But of course, you learn your cadences of speech from your parents, and I very quickly, I mean, I remember practically the day when I started pronouncing the word horror instead of horror, because I grew up saying horror like my mom.
Oh, okay.
And I ultimately realized that it did not fly. This was actually a red flag culturally. It's not just a pronunciation or just an accent. It actually was a push-off, a setback for other people.
But growing up in Appalachia in the 80s and 90s, during the Satanic Panic, it was like a real tangible, like palpable threat that listening to the wrong kinds of music or whatever could get you yanked into hell.
It's hard for me to relate to it because again, you grow up in countercultural coastal California like I did, and you and then you're already, I mean, I did a ton of shit, through all my youth. And went off to urban Chicago for college and threw myself into, really independent life. At that point, the idea of some adult telling you that doing X is going to send you to hell, number one, you're like, yeah, right. Number two, more importantly, it's like, so what if you say that? But that's very insensitive to people, though. If you're younger, you can't even say the first, let alone the second.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of a situation that younger people are in with Zak. Like,
tell me more about that.